6 hours. 6 hours. As you can see by the smile on my face here, I am excited about the big, massive update about Peter Jackson's Get Back movie. His documentary about the Get Back and Let It Be sessions. Or you could just say January of 1969. When I heard that news yesterday morning, when I read the Vanity Fair article, I was beaming. I was so happy. And I hope a lot of you guys have read the Vanity Fair article already. If you haven't, go do it. And immediately, a lot of the Beatle groups I belong to started their, oh, this and that and this and that. Well, I'll get to that. But first, I want to get my excitement out of the way about this. Okay, Peter Jackson, he really gave them a deep dive in Vanity Fair. And he basically said, my movie is not to replace Let It Be. It is what it is, and that's going to be its own thing. And yes, again, Let It Be is going to come out in some form when this box set is announced. Be patient, people. Be patient. All right? That's all I got to say. Be patient. It will happen. But when I heard the things, I mean, there's a couple of things that I could go talk about on this whole topic anyways. And I encourage you, if you guys haven't subscribed to Pop Goes the 60s, subscribe to his channel, because he's really doing a massive deep dive into the sessions and the incidents that happened in January of 1969. And it's a very good myth-busting thing that he's doing. So, Peter Jackson was talking about how some of the conflict is in his movie. You know, the famous conflict between Paul and George. I think it's being done from an alternate angle. They were saying they weren't using the exact same shots that was in the Michael Lindsay Hogg film. So I think it's an alternate shot, an alternate angle. But he says, I also show what came after that. And if you heard the Nagra recordings, I always keep talking about the Nagra recordings in this whole thing. The Nagra recordings tell the full story of the sessions in January 1969 for the project that was going to be called Get Back, which eventually became the Let It Be project. And the Nagra recordings, which have been bootlegged to death, tell a three-dimensional story. And the pissy, bitchy moments that we all talk about are so small in comparison to the other stuff. I mean, the one thing you got to say about the Beatles, that if stuff was going on, when they got down to picking up their instruments and hitting that record button, the bullshit went out the window. And there's a lot more good feeling than what was in the Lindsay Hogg film. So, I originally said that I don't want a 90 minutes put it together, get it in there, nostalgia fest, you know, or something like that. I didn't want what was going to be done with, like what Ron Howard did with 8 Days a Week, the touring years. And I really think Ron Howard was given, I don't think he was given a free hand. And the other thing about 8 Days a Week, the touring years, it was test screened. It was test screened to non-Beatle fans or just casual Beatle fans. So it covered a lot of ground that we already knew, and it didn't cover any new ground. Well, I'm happy that this thing is going to cover some new ground. I'm happy that we're going to see the agony and the ecstasy. And 6 hours. I wouldn't expect any less from the director of the Lord of the Rings films. And that's what I wanted. I wanted at least, I said, if you're going to do something, at least 2.5. Somewhere around 3 hours. Now I get 6. So I'm a happy camper, and I'm counting down the days to November when this thing comes to Disney Plus. Yes, I would have loved to have seen it in the movie theater. Would I have loved it if it was in the movie theaters at 2.5 hours or 3 hours? Of course. But I'll take the 6 hours. Which gets me to some of the complaints that people are talking about on a lot of the Beatle groups that I belong to. I try not to get involved in the discourse. If I do, I keep it very sarcastic. Like I posted, 6 hours is too short. I want all 56 hours. And believe it or not, there are people out there who would actually say that. Seriously. But, man, can we ever be happy? We're here again. We're here again and again and again and again. I want it in the movie theaters. Why is it now 6 hours? I don't want to go to Disney Plus. I don't want to give money to the Disney conglomerate, this money-grabbing corporation. The Beatles signed a distribution deal with Disney a while back. Okay? So that's anything Apple knew that Apple puts out. I think it was maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. So anything Apple puts out, the Beatles company Apple, not Apple, the you know what I'm talking about. So any new thing that the Beatles Apple company puts out as far as film related is probably going to be on Disney Plus. And I wouldn't expect otherwise. Do I have issues with Disney? Yes, I do. That's a separate topic. I have issues on the film front with the 20th Century Fox library. But that doesn't stop me from watching The Mandalorian. That doesn't stop me from watching all the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows. Right now I'm on Loki. Episode 2. So that doesn't stop me. And at the end of the day, I like Disney. I still want them to appreciate the physical media. But do I want this on Disney Plus at 6 hours? If I'm going to get 6 hours, yes, I do. Is this going to be a rewriting of history? Not based on the Vanity Fair article. Based on the Vanity Fair article, it sounds like you're going to get a 360 view of that time period. And no greater a Beatles scholar than Mark Lewison had talked about. He listened to all of the Niagara recordings. He did it in order, like in January. We were still kind of on lockdown everywhere, so he said he put everything in day order. So he would go and listen to it as if it was happening. He managed to get a hold of all of the bootlegs of the Niagara recordings. And he said he came away from that with a totally different view of the events that happened in January 1969. And that is telling. We got to understand that a lot of this stuff about what was going on during that time frame was, I see revisionism, but revisionism on the part of the four Beatles, in particular John and George. Were there arguments that happened? Did George walk out for a few days? Yes. Yes. Were things smoothed over? Yes. And we could talk about the Beatles breakup and what caused it, what didn't cause it. I've done a couple of videos on my thoughts. Again, I don't think it was one specific issue. Again, I don't think John seriously wanted to close the door and lock it shut on the Beatles. We're going to get there when I talk about that again. But in this scenario, I firmly believe there were a hell of a lot of good moments, and there were some bad moments too, like anything. I don't think anybody thought the end was near until after they recorded Abbey Road. 1969 was a game-changing year for the Beatles. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of egos going on, and a lot of drugs going on. So, let's wait and see. Let's not judge something before it comes out. Again, we should be excited that we are getting this and be happy that we are getting this from a great director, Peter Jackson. Yeah, there were some issues I had with the Hobbit trilogy, but that's a different topic. The director of Lord of the Rings directing a Beatles documentary made up of the 56 hours of footage during the Get Back Let It Be sessions. So a lot of it we haven't seen. I can't wait. I cannot wait. We should be happy for this. We should be thankful that we are getting this. And once it comes out, then we can talk about if this is this or this is that. Again, I don't think this is revisionism so much as getting now a full 360 picture of the events that went down in January 1969 during those sessions. And again, if you haven't heard the bootlegs of the Niagara recordings during that period or read the transcripts, I urge you to do it. You'll come away thinking something totally different. Everything that you were told about George's statement, The Winter of Discontent, and John talking about Phil Spector being given the shittiest load of badly recorded shit and all that stuff, that's not there. That is not there. Arguments broke out. George did leave and all that, not because of Paul, but because of a discrepancy between him and John. That's another topic. And if you haven't, go to Pop Goes the 60s. That man is doing some great stuff delving into these sessions. And I want to know what his favorite IPA is, because he always has so many interesting beverages in front of him. Anyway, give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think here. Please let me know if you're excited. Keep them, as always, professional. Gentle discourse is okay. And peace and love. Oh, and by the way, today is Macca's birthday. 79 years young, man, and still going. 79 years young. Keep rocking out, brother. I love you. And I'm going to talk to you all soon.